You guys have been absolutely sleeping on this. And of course it's the PPSH. You might be thinking, why on earth would I be running the PPSH when I can buy any weapon in the game and probably run it much easier? But well, today's video I'm going to see whether or not we can go through an entire labs raid with the PPSH and do, well, pick out whatever we want and hopefully get into contact with some of those PMCs and raiders. And I'm going to show you why this weapon is actually not as bad as you might originally think. And yes, the rounds we're using have absolutely terrible pen. Now then, why am I using a PPSH on PVE? Well, this is down to the fact that it's essentially, you know, trying to make the game slightly harder. I enjoy a bit more of a challenge when I do play PvE. We've kind of learnt how the AI responds in a lot of different ways from just playing way too much. You guys love to tell me that I've played way too much of the game. And although that is somewhat correct, I mean, it's still interesting. I still love playing the game, and of course it's Tarkov at the end of the day. And I'm trying to start releasing some more content that is maybe PvE orientated as well as PvP, and I'm going to be focusing on just trying to provide better content for you guys. I'm finding myself creating kind of content that I'm not particularly that proud of, and hopefully we can kind of move forward and try and make the best content for you guys. I understand that, you know, watching videos on how to make money, etc. is good when you have no money, but at the same time you guys probably get bored of just simple loot runs and stuff like that. So I feel like maybe adding in some more of these challenges could potentially make it a bit more interesting for you guys. So that's what we're going to do and see how it goes. And it's also more engaging content for me to actually play, and hopefully that kind of conveys across to you guys. So we're hitting up Blue Room here just so that we can at least have a chance at getting one of the key cards. You know, this room absolutely sucks in 99% of scenarios, so it's always good when you go in there and then you get absolutely nothing, which is what it looks like it might be in this one. An alu splint, brilliant. Maybe we'll pick up the Salewa just in case we get into some arguments with some of the PMC AI. Anyway, Blue Room, pretty much the only way to make money is if you get yourself a LEDX or if you get the key card, and even the stim spawns that you can get in this room are pretty bad. So yeah, the key is also not very cheap compared to what the value on average actually is in the room. So I hate the Blue Room. It's just not a good room to open, but I do it anyway because at this point we don't need money, and even if we only break even, it's not a problem for me. Now then, seems like we may have ourselves some AI somewhere, but we'll go ahead and jump into our favorite spot, which is absolutely broken loot right now because of the fact that every time BSG seem to add something in, they make it crazy good. So yeah, let's see if we can make some money here. Now we want to try and find the key. I've already got like 3 uses in my backpack, so I mean we don't really need it, but it also means we don't have to search for it, and if we do that a couple times should make it pretty standard. So we'll drop in here. So far I've not really seen that many PMCs come in here. They do come in here kind of later on in the raid, but they also don't open up this kind of door here, which requires you to turn on the power. So maybe that has something to do with it. We'll check the keycard spawn here. Nothing there, and over by the rail, so nothing on there. So it looks like we are going to have to turn on the power. Take a look, see if we can find anything of use. Jump into this room, check on the desk, see if we can find anything. We got ourselves an adrenaline, probably one of the worst stims to actually get. This whole room seems to be just loaded with so much stuff that just simply going into here would probably like cover absolutely any cost and probably make you a couple million from every raid you're in. So I mean, this whole addition to PvE is a really good one for the sake of anyone that's trying to farm money. And of course it was also interesting because, you know, another labs expansion makes things a bit more interesting. It's been a while since we've basically got any additions to most of the game. We've got ourselves the spawn there, and we've got ourselves a mule as well. Nice. One of the other spawns is directly under there on that little kind of bench thing. And there's usually quite a few stim spawns here as well, so it's always good to double check those. Now, most of the time, now I kind of think that you don't even have to hit a black room to be able to get so many stim spawns that it's, yeah, it's one of those things that I feel like even now, you don't really need to do it. But there goes that key. The key itself is, yeah, just absolute crazy how much money you make from that. We'll make our way into the center of the map as well in a little bit, just to see if we can get through and find some of those PMC AI. It's always fun to give ourselves a bit of a challenge, and especially with the PPSH, we should be able to do what we need to do, hopefully, because of the 71 round mags that we've got. We've got 2 lots of those. We're using the baggery just so that we've got 2 slots, and it's relatively cheap. Oh, whiskey, very expensive right now. And have we got any more stims lying around? Just an AFAC. So it seems like they may have actually spawned down the corridor in one of those rooms, which is always nice. Serve kit, don't think we need that. We'll open up the black room as we kind of make our way down there, but I want to try and get into some gunfights. And we'll probably hit up the manager's office as well for the blue room spawn, provided we don't just get head eyes, because yep, that does also happen to me. Right, so let's see if we can get ourselves a Bitcoin or something in the room. Some lovely intel folders right there. Nothing up on the top. I appreciate it might be darker than I'd love, but hopefully I'll do something in editing to allow it to be a little bit lighter, even if it doesn't look as good. We've got ourselves another weapon underneath there. Now, usually I wouldn't pick up the weapons just because they're not actually that high loot value in general. But it is what it is. We'll see what we find later on down the line. Some more GP coins. Nothing under the bench by the looks of things. I'll just drop out the weapon. It's super heavy if we're carrying that around. Nothing in there. And on the beds, nothing either. Just want to check. Make sure that we haven't missed any Bitcoins lying around, because that would be very bad. But no, I think that is pretty much everything in the room. I'm sure if I've missed something, you guys will have a field day laughing about it, and that I've missed out one of the best things in the game. But there we go. Cool. Now, sometimes there can be PMCs that spawn in this doorway. Doesn't look like it. Make our way over to the black room, open that up, see if we can get ourselves a LEDX. I would love to see the AI change slightly during the game so that they actually do go into some of the rooms. Just so, like, you know, on the off chance maybe you don't have that much money, or maybe you want a bit of a different thing during the game, that you will actually see them kind of go into rooms, and maybe you can take them out and then go into the room for free, that sort of stuff. I think that would be kind of cool. I understand that it might be broken and quite hard to actually put into the game where it is somewhat balanced and you can't just continuously farm them, as yeah, you could probably just lob a nade in one of their areas or whatever, but at the same time, you know, stuff like that I feel like would be kind of cool to have in. But yeah, I'm interested to see what you guys think about something like that actually entering into the game. So what have we got here? It is a stim. Zagustin. Another one. Honestly, the spawn rate of stims in black have been rather good. It's just a lot of the types of stims have been a bit poo for me anyway recently. Although this one's been pretty decent. The L1s are basically like hardly worth picking up, to be honest. I very rarely will actually pick those up, so we'll just delete them out because we want space. And then what we can do is drop out any of the adrenaline and stuff in the injectors cases, which are not worth that much. We want the more expensive ones saved, just in case the PPSH can't save us. Let's go hit up this room. A blue folder? I've literally never seen that, you know. Not in green room. So probably actually made our money back from green room this time. Good thing about labs is, like, if you start getting overweight, you can just pick up some of the stims and actually use them, and it doesn't really affect how much money you're making. J12, L1, don't want any of that garbage, and then there's usually a stim spawn in there. I've very rarely found any Ledexes in this, so I don't know if they're just really rare or what, but it's been pretty weak in terms of like the standard loot outside. I mean, you make your money back from Green Room, I think, just based on some of the stims that you can get, but in terms of like loose loot, like except from in the main room of Green Room, it's pretty weak. I mean, this is one of the rare spawns, so you can see we got ourselves a 1G. Sometimes you get a graphics card and Bitcoin in here, and looks like we didn't even get a rare spawn on the floor, which is like one of the common areas, but we did get one there. Sometimes on the desk near the laptop, and then you got some ammo spawns, so SSAP, which is nice. A tango site, I don't think we need it. And of course, we never get anything actually worth it in the weapons crates. No stim spawn there. The amount of SJ6s we've got is ludicrous this raid. I mean, just in general, the amount of stims is actually crazy. What I'll do is I'll drop out some of the other ones in here. And then we can drop in the actual SJ6s. There we go. We have definitely guaranteed our money. Discard the manual. We definitely don't need that. Any intel folders? Nope. Okay. Well, looks like we might have to take the long way round. That's fine. We can loot up the these, see if we can get ourselves a graphics card or something. But probably not. CPU fans are actually ridiculous money right now. Some rip ammo. Don't think we need any of that. Drop the SSD into the docs case. Someone asked in the comment section of one of the videos recently why I take a SICK and a docs case. It's because they can basically like take different items. The SICK case can take certain valuables and the other items. The docs case can take other items, so I find it's more than useful to do that. But of course it's down to your own opinion. An MCC? I mean, if we needed one, that would be perfect, but... Okay. I was not expecting to have them that close. Well... the power of the PPSH got us through it somehow. Which I think is, more the PPSH than anything I was doing just then. Oh my lord, I was not expecting them to have pushed like directly outside the door. I thought that they were around the corner. So that was a fat L by me. I think one of them moved down. We'll serve kit up, put our arms back on, because, you know, very realistic game Tarkov is, as people love to say. So we took out 2. But there's definitely another one hiding somewhere. I think we'll lob a nade. Right, let's drop the bag. Maybe there wasn't anyone then. Let's grab the bag. We will actually pop. What do we want to take? Trim it all. And yeah, I do have to say that sitting around for about a minute loading up the 71 round PPSH mag is not particularly that fun, but you know, I mean, when we get to fully unload it, it's better. Now we do need to go find ourselves some food, so let's do that. Hopefully there's something in here. Because, how do we say, we're running low on food because of the stims we've been popping. So, let's enter into my favourite area, the kitchen. Well, we are going to need to try and extract, but whilst we're here, let's open up the red room. We should have enough heals to just keep healing. Oh my god, 2 MCCs in one raid. I mean, that is rather lucky. Let's open up the violet room, just in case we get some good stuff. Lots of figurines, some euros. Rooster. What have we got here then? Is it a Bitcoin? Oh. Can drop that in the old docs case. Nice little SAS drive. We'll drop out that Calloc and that one, because we are not going to need that many. And we'll use up a 2 BTG so we can sprint away. We're going to have to sprint into the bathroom directly outside, so let's give this a go. Okay, cool. Aha! We found some food. Nice. We are dehydrated, but we can deal with that. And gain back a bit of stam, hopefully. Now, this is where we drop the backpack, because there's always, as I say, there's always some PMC or raiders that spawn out here. Let's just pre-fire. And there we go. As you can see, the power of the PPSH coming out. It's just a bullet hose. There always seems to be 2 down here. I don't know why. But it's usually the raiders that spawn down here. We can check them for loot. I'll do that after we've turned the power on and called the elevator. And there we go. We can get out of the raid finally. It was a bit of a janked raid because of the fact that we kind of ran out of space, and we also got into that horrible fight, which I was not expecting them to be directly in the doorway when we came out of the area in the kind of garage. So yeah, not the greatest, but at the same time, we took out 4 raiders, got a decent chunk of XP, and a lot of the rooms opened as well. Could have taken out way more actual valuable loot. I'm sure I could have done a bit of management of the inventory, but it wasn't too bad. Now, as you can probably tell, we're running into the issue of having way too much money. And although that might seem like a stupid thing to most of you who haven't spent way too long playing the game, it is an issue. I mean, we filled up basically an entire thick case full of money, and yeah, now we're having to buy essentially money cases to put our, or thick cases to actually put our money cases in, and yeah, not the greatest in terms of inventory management, I'm sure, but we're getting there now. We're getting there in terms of popping some of the money and loot and everything like that. In terms of related to labs, what I usually do is I've got a thick case. You can have an items case or whatever, or just a junk box, and I'll usually just, once I've finished a labs raid, for if I'm not doing a video, I'll just dump it all into one of these thick cases, and that way when I come to sell all of the items, I can go ahead and just basically get rid of everything very quickly. I don't have to worry too much about, you know, managing things, selling things directly after the raid, as it's much easier to, you know, sell, I don't know, Pro Patrol like 8 of them rather than selling 2 lots of 4 of them, obviously. It just makes things much quicker to sell everything, and also you're doing it in bigger quantities, which often people actually prefer on the flea, so you can list them for higher prices. So, you know, if you want to make more money, that's a decent way of doing it. But that's kind of how I optimize, like, going into raids and stuff like that. So, like, this is literally what it looks like, just dumping in everything that we get out of the raid into the thick case, then sorting the case, and then when it starts to fill up, or at least, you know, gets to the point where it's unmanageable, I'll then kind of drop in everything and then sell everything at the end. So you can see most of the actual stuff that I get that isn't kind of rare loot. So, I mean, I could take out the meds. I don't think we need to put those in there. Same with the blood set and the NaCl and stuff like the ophthalmoscopes. What I would recommend with those is to dump those into a main case so you can keep more of the rare loot, and that way you can sell those to traders. So, although I wasn't doing it myself, that's kind of what I recommend doing in that case to even more speed up the process. So I can drop in the rare loot and stuff that is more valuable, and then we can go ahead and sell off all of the rest of it. So an Intel folder, SAS drives, stuff like that, SSDs we can put in there, a Bitcoin or GP coins, etc. And then all of this rest of this stuff, I've got all of these junk boxes which I just fill with mainly like random items that we get in the raids, but mainly wanting to take those kind of hideout items and stuff that you get a lot of during your raids into those, because once again, you know, filling those up just saves that space in the thick case for the rare items, which can't actually often go in some of the junk boxes, like some of the more nuanced stuff I'm talking about. And of course things like CPU fans, these can go in there as well. And then finally we'll kind of go through the ammo and drop that into the ammo case, which is starting to become a little bit too much because of all of the ammo cases, which are completely filled. But, you know, it's once again stuff that we'll use in videos later on down the line. I'm sure many of you don't need the ammunition, but, you know, just thought I'd highlight it as well. One of the best things is donating all of the mags, and we can always check these, so we don't need that. And that's gone, as well as these. Definitely don't need Uzi mags, that's for sure. And then we'll load up once again with our ammunition. We can basically use anything. I mean, at this point, we're kind of running out of ammunition, so let's go ahead and buy some more. We don't really need that much good ammunition in terms of the PPSH because of the fact that, I mean, you just rinse through most people just based on the actual hosing them down, so it really doesn't matter about what the ammunition type is mainly, but you kind of want the high damage ammunition. I mean, this is slightly better because it goes through level 2 and rarely level 3, whereas the LRN is just high damage, so it's nice for going for those leg shots, but all in all, I don't think it makes too much of a difference. And we can drop in the Uzi, which will just insta-sell. We're only really picking up raider weapons so that we can repair them for our weapon maintenance skill, and we can go ahead and sell that one out. Right, so we've got a decent spawn with about 1 million PMCs by the sound of it. Okay. So 1 PMC down. We'll swap out our rounds on the PPSH just in case, because you never know if you're going to need the full 71. I would be surprised if we do, but you never know. So oh my lord. Okay, so I'm glad we did actually put that on, because there was way more PMCs than I expected. Right, let's put our arm back on just so that we're not completely useless. Okay, they're directly above me. And that's one down. One has pushed down, I think, or at least is like camping the top of the stairs, which is always fun. Right, we'll just lob a nade. No! Oh dear. I thought there was only going to be one, but there was two. There must have been like a group of like 4 or 5 different PMCs then, which is unfortunate, but that's how labs goes sometime. I mean, we could have played it safe and gone somewhere else, but that would have been boring. But you guys can see, I mean, if you can actually play well, I mean, we played badly there at the very end, but the PPSH can honestly just tear through so many. And unfortunately, the USEX and the Bears seem to be working together there, which isn't supposed to happen in the game, so I'm not entirely sure what actually happened. But in terms of how the PPSH actually works, in terms of labs, it's just so consistent in terms of how much output you can do that most of the time you'll just actually blunt damage a lot of the people that you're fighting. And we managed to get hit, what, 3 times by blunt damage, which probably was the fatal hit. I would assume. But yeah, not so good. Oh no, we got left armed maybe. Either way, we got absolutely fricked at the end. So yeah, that was the PPSH. Hopefully at least you got an idea of what the actual weapon can do and why it's a ton of fun. Like, it is so much fun. I really enjoy using the weapon. It's not the most effective, as you can probably kind of guess, but it is a ton of fun and it is effective, especially on smaller maps. Things like factory and labs, really good. Just very bad for any long range engagements because you can't put a sight on the PPSH, which does suck. And the only modification you can really make is the magazine, which is a 71 round mag, and I would 100% recommend having a 71 round mag because the 35 rounders, you're spending more time reloading than you actually are firing. So yeah, either way, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next one.